Institute is always really eager and proud to welcome this kind of partnerships. We are a hub for institutions, people, ideas that focus on peace, security and defense issues. So we really foster bilateral relations in the EA grants, so we are very happy that we can reinforce working relations between these two institutes. It's very relevant. For those who don't know yet details on the EA grants, just to give you some insight, it's a 7-year financial mechanism that was brought upon the European Economic Area Agreement. It was signed in the city of Porto under the Portuguese presidency on the European Union at the time. And it brought together the European member states and 3 EFTA states, Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein. And together they can access the internal market.
Welcome you, especially for those who are coming from Iceland. Welcome to Portugal, welcome to Lisbon. And if you allow me, Mr. Director, welcome to the National Defense Institute. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to share with you this conference.
We're very happy that this project is going so well. We're very happy with this collaboration, and we see a lot of opportunities and possibilities of collaboration with the Institute and, of course, continuing with this project. It's very important, of course, to anyone that is involved in research and international affairs to establish as much collaboration as we possibly can.
Well, Portugal is a founding member of the Atlantic Alliance, maintained a constant presence during the 70 years of life of the alliance. And the contrary is also true. I mean, that NATO has always been present in the Portuguese political life. Foreign policy, defense policy, and even domestic policy.
Iceland was in fact looking for shelter during the Second World War, and they saw the Americans as the solution to their problems. And we have to also remember that the Americans were not involved in the war effort when this was taking place. They were still a neutral country until in December 1941 when they entered the war.
Nordic political cooperation formed by the Interparliamentary Nordic Council and the Intergovernmental Nordic Council of Ministers has certainly been beneficial for Iceland through the years, with the common Nordic labour market, as well as a passport and social security union preceding similar developments in the EU by many decades.
Yeah, so Iceland has therefore depended on this assistance of the other Nordic countries in, for example, international organizations, and Iceland's diplomatic capabilities have been strengthened by Nordic cooperation as the Nordic states coordinate considerably on foreign policy.
So Africa, as all Portuguese here know very well, is a traditional dimension of Portuguese foreign policy. The country has had a long-standing and complex presence there, if we think about the imperial time, colonial times. And also very important, in a recent past, it was a top priority.
And while, and in fact, the EU session has provided Portugal the 3 dimensions of the shelter tool, because it has provided along the years, in different degrees, diplomatic backing, large amounts of funding, and also it promoted closer interactions between European citizens.
Regarding the economic crash in Iceland is the fact that small states have to be wary of moving into a relationship or an engagement with international actors which provides false shelter. You have to have secure guarantees that your ally will help you out if you run into difficulties. It has to be clear. There is nothing in the EEA agreement that indicates that Iceland should receive shelter from the EEA.
In fact, Iceland and China have since signed multiple bilateral agreements, MOUs, framework agreements on cooperation agreements, and more. Now, signing the free trade agreement with China was politically important for Iceland, as it gave the country prestige, being the first European country to sign such an agreement with China. But for Iceland, it actually had more of an economic significance.
The society shelter has proved to exist from Brazil to and the CPLP to Portugal.